When you want to add a new client, there are two ways to do that. One way is you go into Clients, click on New Client Record. Oops, it's pre-filling my information. So you put first name, last name, any additional information you need to, and you just click through the buttons. That's an easy way to add a new client without going through the meetings or anything else. If you have an operation where you want to track all your new client calls, all your new client meetings and correspondence, we have a proprietary system that we have developed that you use the function of new clients, and you start with clicking here to add a new client. So I don't know why the system is pre-filling this for me, but you fill out all the information. I'm not going to do that at this point, not to waste your time. Once you click submit, your record is going to look like this. So you'll have a name, you'll have a little green icon which you can pull up, this client's information. You'll have the telephone number here. This information is usually going to show up blank because you were manually adding up a new client. If you have a scheduling reservation system on your website linked to PetSit Connect, and we'll go over that under My Settings. If you have that linked, you will have the new client imported directly into the new client queue, and the start date and the end date will be populated from the client's inquiry form. Um, so, um, yes, so that will be something that the client has already put on the website when scheduling visits on your website. But right now we're just going to go over the process of how this new client queue works. So when you got the client, you have several options. You have a set meeting option, confirm meeting, and action. So what happens first is that once you add the client to the new client queue, you want to send a greeting email to the client. And that email is also set up under My Settings, Automated Letters. So you click on email, and we already have a pre-typed text that shows up with your signature if you have set it up that way. You can edit this text. For example, like I have a pet sitter who already lives just 2 miles from you. So I can edit anything. I can take this whole paragraph off or anything at all. But you have this nice introductory email about how long you've been in business, how happy you are that they contacted you, and you just can't wait to have them as your customers. And the subject of this email will be thank you for your request. This email is going to go out from Easy Pet Sitter here, but it's going to go out to the client's email. So if the client clicks reply on that email, you will just receive it in your regular email inbox. And then you click send request, and that is your first initial step of communication with that client. The next step would be to set up the meeting with yourself and the client, or your employee and the client. So you'll click, and usually the clients have they will put a note on the request. Then, and one of the things the notes will ask them, if you use the online form, is when would you like to meet? And the client will say anytime after 5:30 Friday or this weekend. So once you have talked to your pet sitter, or once you looked at your schedule, you decide that okay, you will be meeting this Friday after 5:30. So let's say your meeting is going to be set up for Friday 6 p.m. So in this case, you will be able to click set. You go into meeting date Friday, 6 p.m. So now the meeting is going to let's see. Yes, right here. This is our client. So the meeting is going to show up in that pet sitter schedule. And when the pet sitter is meeting with the client, they are going to click meeting complete and fill out the remaining information. But before we even go to talk about the pets that are leaving information here, I want to show you a couple really cool things. So now, since you've set up a meeting, you want to confirm that meeting with the client and the sitter. So you click the client link and says it populates the name, this email to confirm the meeting with the pet sitter that you selected on the date that you have selected. And it also will say, again, this can be all edited by you. You can change this text, you can make it longer or shorter or whatever you want to do with it. But the cool thing about this is that at the end of this email, the client will have a link to update their file. So once they click on that link, it will take them to the veterinary information fields, it will take them to the pets information, it will take them to everything that you need to know about their pets. They will click on that file and that link, and once they click submit, that information will pre-populate here on PetSit Connect, which means that right now, I'm just going to go ahead and close out. Which means that right now, if you click on this client's file, we don't have any information about the pets, or veterinary or emergency contact, or anything about where the leashes are located, or anything at all. We just have their address and their numbers and their email address. That's the basic information we have. So now the client gets to fill out the rest. Sometimes the clients are lazy and they won't fill it out, which is okay. Then your pet sitter can click on meeting complete and fill this out for the client after the meeting takes place. So once you click there on the email to send a link to the client, you'll see a date here, like it's going to be an automated date stamp of the date when that email has been sent. And you can also do the same thing to the sitter. As you can see here, we have a lot shorter text. It just tells the pet sitter that they have a meeting set up, and you can edit the text, and the pet sitter will get an email notification as well. So once the pet sitter has met with the client, they will enter meeting. They will click on meeting complete. They will fill out any information remaining pertaining to the client. Um, they will not have access. The pet sitter will not have access to the rate or anything at all. Once they click submit, they will have an option to add pets. Add new pet. Cat. Right. Submit. So here's the cat. And now the pet sitter needs to submit this for scheduling. It's just, you can skip that, you don't have to do this, but for me personally, I like to kind of triple confirm all the visits. So have the visits been scheduled? Yes. And I would say 9 a.m. in the mornings, and then I click on the date, and the pet sitter is telling me that the visits are May 5th and May 6th, and their morning visit at 9 o'clock. No other notes. Submit. So now this client is ready to be scheduled. You can always remove the client at any stage, but this client is still kind of floating in this new client queue. This client has not been added to your database yet, because you never know whether you're going to take the client or not until you have met with the client. So now you, on your end, you click import client, schedule services. You already have a morning 9 a.m. note here. If there were more than 2 visits, there is an option to add a row, so that's what the pet sitters will have to do. Um, it's kind of very tedious process here. Let's see, 5, 6. It has a lot of steps, but if you have a large operation, or if you're planning on having a large operation, you will actually be using every single step, because you want to double check and reconfirm and double confirm. And then you kind of schedule visits as you usually do. You notify client, notify sitter, and then you auto invoice visits. the day after or the day before, whatever your process is. So it seems like it's a very heavy process. It's a lot easier to just add a client through new client record. Um, but if you want to follow through, if you have, 20 employees and all of them having their own new clients, you want to make sure, because if it's in red, for example, like it's here, it means the meeting has already taken place, but there has been no information entered about that client. Here we have nothing. So you want to follow up with the pet sitter. Usually would follow up the day after the meeting and make sure that they do enter all the information, or the client enters their information, their credit card information if they want to pay by credit card. And you just kind of want to stay on top of all your new clients. And if anybody needs, like this client, for example, this client already has a meeting set up. So you're just waiting for the date for this meeting to happen. If this client, for example, has an email sent to them, but the meeting is still not set up, that kind of gives you a cue to follow up with the client and see if they're still needing a pet sitter. If they don't, if they change their mind, you just remove them. Or if they do, they will be very impressed that you remembered about them and you followed up with them. So it's a very, very good way to manage all your incoming new clients. You kind of have a place to see them all at a glance and knowing what to just leave be and what you need to follow up on.